Donald Trump Jr. Like his golden towers in the sky, the president named his firstborn after himself, too. Jr. currently serves as a trustee and executive director of the Trump Organization, and a big booster for his dad's political agenda. But their relationship wasn't always that close. Trump Jr. was born to Donald's first wife, Ivana. When Trump Sr. and Ivana divorced because of his affair with Marla Maples, 12-year-old Donald Jr. was absolutely devastated. According to a few of Ivana's friends, Don Jr. said to his father, "How can you say you love us? You don't love us. You don't even love yourself. You just love your money." He didn't speak to his father for a year.
It was certainly a difficult thing, but I think throughout our lives, he's always been there. It's usually been on his terms. It wasn't a typical, let's go play catch in the backyard.
The anger resurfaced when Trump Jr. was attending his father's alma mater, the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School, where he was notoriously a hard-partying student. He would often get into drunken fights. "I used to drink a lot and party pretty hard, and it wasn't something I was particularly good at," he said. Trump Jr. decided to take a year off after graduating to find himself. He moved to Aspen, Colorado, where the debauchery continued. A few years later, he joined his family in New York City, where he would work for his father's business in real estate development, which led to a role on his father's reality show, of course, The Apprentice. And much like his father, Don Jr. is a straight shooter. See? Next to the dead animals. In 2011, Don and his brother Eric went big game hunting in Africa and took these photos cheesing next to their kills. They put out a joint statement. "We have the utmost respect for nature and have always hunted in accordance with local laws and regulations. In addition, all meat was donated to local villagers who were incredibly grateful. We love traveling and being in the woods." Big game wasn't the only thing he had his eyes on in 2011. He was a judge at the Miss USA pageant where everyone found out what women he's encountered probably already knew. He's kind of a creep.
It's fun. You know, it's the perfect excuse. It's one of the only times I can actually look at beautiful women without getting into serious trouble, because Vanessa can't really blame me. It's, you know, we own it. It's part of my job.
And from Twitter, "I have gotten absolutely nothing done since all 50 Miss USA contestants showed. Can't focus. Probably back on couch tonight, but hashtag totally worth it." In fact, he tweets about ending up on the couch a lot. Not gonna lie, I'm not gonna complain about the idea of Diana Mendoza in the nude bodysuit. Hashtag just saying. Couch time tonight, and his Twitter continued to be controversial as he joined the campaign trail. Like when he compared human refugees to Skittles, the candy. He also received backlash for posting a photo on Instagram that someone had photoshopped of himself alongside a handful of other conservatives, including Milo Yiannopoulos, Alex Jones, and the well-known mascot for white supremacy, Pepe the Frog.
I'd never even heard of Pepe the Frog. I mean, I bet 90% of your viewers haven't heard of Pepe the Frog. I thought it was a frog in a wig. I thought it was funny.
But perhaps the biggest issue for Trump Jr. came via email. In June 16th, in the heat of the presidential race, Rob Goldstone, a publicist with close ties to the Russian government, offered Trump Jr. compromising information on Hillary Clinton from the Russian government. Trump Jr. was told via email that the documents would incriminate Hillary and her dealings with Russia and would be very useful to your father. And this is obviously very high level and sensitive information, but is part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump. A giddy Trump Jr. responded quickly with, "If it's what you say, I love it, especially later in the summer." On June 9th, 2016, Trump Jr., Paul Manafort, Jared Kushner, a Russian-American lobbyist, and potentially a few more, met with a Russian lawyer at Trump Tower. The meeting was called treasonous, not by the fake news media, but by former chief strategist Steve Bannon. When Jake Tapper pressed him on the issue of possible Trump-Russia collusion back in July of 2016, Trump Jr. vehemently denied the reports.
Experts are saying that Russians were behind both the leak, the hacking of the DNC emails and their release. He seemed to be suggesting that this is part of a plot to help Donald Trump and hurt Hillary Clinton. Your response?
Well, it just goes to show you their exact moral compass. I mean, they'll say anything to be able to win this. I mean, this is time and time again, lie after lie. It's disgusting. It's so phony.
Don Jr. was able to keep his story straight there. But in the future, Steve Bannon predicts they're gonna crack Don Jr. like an egg on national TV.